Hello guys and welcome back to the channel. Now today for you I'm going to be showing off one of the next best one card combos that we're going to be seeing in Yu-Gi-Oh! I already showed you what you could do with super heavy samurai cards, which are also one card, and with cybernetic or cyberstorm access we're going to be seeing another card pop up which performs similarly, something like Armageddon Knight, something like Zayamin, something like 4-month Skipper, all those type of cards that are incredible one card starters. Now there's another one, so let me show you guys what I'm talking about. Now before I continue, please go check out tsx1.com and use the code potato10 for 10% off on all your sleeves. Also make sure to like, subscribe, and leave a message down below in the comment section if there's anything you'd like to see, anything I missed maybe in this combo video, or just if you have something to say. So without any more, let's get into the video. Okay, so I'm going to show you a pretty well-known combo at this point. It's been circulating a lot of the Yu-Gi-Oh groups for quite some time. So it's pretty simple. You're just going to activate Hero Lives. It could be Hero Lives, or it can be the card you're going to summon, which is Prisma. At which point, Prisma, you can reveal a fusion in your extra deck and send one of the listed materials from deck to grave, and it copies its name. It has to be something that's exactly listed, so you can't just reveal Kid Kalos and send any Aqua, even if it wasn't banned. So in this case, what you want to do now, what changes, we're going to use this new fusion, Vicious Astraud. So it requires the Visa Starfrost and then a monster with 1500 attack or 2100 defense. So all your heart monsters, Rhino Heart, Reich Heart, etc. If this card is special summoned, you can target one other monster in the field, destroy it, and it gains attack equal to half the destroyed monster's original attack or defense, and it can't be destroyed by battle. But also, it can be special summoned by banishing the above cards from field or graveyard. So, it doesn't require a fusion spell. It doesn't even require the cards in play. So, main point being, we gotta put a Starfrost in grave, and now the Prisma gains the name Starfrost. Let's do link for the Scareclaw Link 1, which this would be familiar territory. This card is very strong. Let's you add the Scareclaw field spell, which will get you one more card. So you have the Scareclaw Reich Heart, which if you control Scareclaw, it can summon it either adjacent or the zone under it. So in this case, it'll be under the Lightheart. And we get the Arrival, which is essentially Monster Born for Scareclaws, or your Visa Starfrost, which you get back. Tuner, non-tuner, Synchro Summon. Easy, right? You got Baron here. So there we have a Baron with a single card, or in some cases without even normal summoning, because if we open Hero Lives. You can do this with Prisma without Hero Lives, but of course that would be using a normal summon, which means you could fill your deck with several ways for one card Barons. It's very, very easy now. However, if you'll notice here, this is not living up its full potential. Lightheart has another ability. It says, if you control Visa Starfrost, you special summon this card from your grave. That effect is once per duel, however, we never used it. Now, obviously, the Scareclaw Lightheart never left the field, but if we were to have used it, and then, or used it for a material, and then revived it for the Visa Starfrost, we've had another body. This means we have this unused body, and then we have its second unused body, and we also could have potentially summoned this fusion monster, Vicious Astraud, like we saw earlier. So we essentially had 3 unused bodies. Now, a lot of combo optimization is looking at maximizing the usage of each one of your monsters on field, and while this is a cool combo that's been circulating, it doesn't really use everything you have available to you. So I'm going to show you guys a couple ways you can expand upon this, and how you can be creative and go different directions with this deck, almost like an Armageddon Knight, so you could do whatever really fits your need. Okay. So let's start off with just a Prisma. Now, in some combos, you could maybe contrive it so that you need to have your normal summon still, in which case only Hero Lives would be a better target. But in many combos, if they're strong enough, then having multiple Prisms in your deck as a powered normal summon is definitely something that's worthwhile. So I'm going to show you a couple things you can do, and I'm going to lead the same way here, with revealing Vicious Astraud. This is the biggest thing that's changed between now and a month in the future. So pretty much it'll always start off with the Astraud here, right? Because otherwise we would have been playing Prisma in the current, and we're not. So we have the name Starfrost, and we can link off for Lightheart. So this part's going to stay the same. We get the same relative setup where we have a good field full of bodies. So we get here. So something that we can do from here now is, and probably my favorite combo, is to then turn these 2 monsters into Cross Sheep. Now, Cross Sheep says if you special summon a monster and you're pointing to any of these, you get these effects. So the main one we're looking at here is Fusion, which is special level follower from your grave, which we can do. Obviously, we have the Vicious Astrad. So now we can bring back the Lightheart because we have the V Starfrost here, and we can link it off. And we can make anything we want. Let's say we're making Proxy F Magician. So IP could be cool here. Obviously, you'd have to have another body that's not a link. However, it's something that would be nice. Now, where can we go from here? We can banish these from the grave to trigger or special summon the Vicious Astrad. And then because we summon a fusion, Cross Sheep will trigger and bring back the Prisma. So what Proxy F Magician does, it says during your main phase, you can fusion summon a fusion using monsters from your field as material. So now we have an extreme amount of flexibility. This can reveal, say, Mirror Jade or Lubellion or Albion, and then send that target from deck to the grave. Send Albaz here, then Proxy F Fuse, and maybe now fuse these away and make something like Mirror Jade. You can make Lubellion instead. You can make something else. This still leaves us with bodies, which then we decide, hey, maybe we want to go for a Sprint. Sprint could send to Merly, and we could keep extending. You can do that, or you could do some other stuff. What I am liking right now doesn't actually involve the Proxy F Magician. So you could theoretically make any other link monster instead. But with this here, I'm going to send a Cartesia. This revealing the Blazing YuGiOh. And now here, you can link these two away for a Sprint. Sprint can send a Tearlament Merly, which can now fuse. We've just set up the fusion materials for a YuGiOh. Then YuGiOh can trigger. And oops, did not mean to do that. YuGiOh can send her, and it can trigger, and it can send what we want. You can even do some dumb rocket combos with here, right? Because this can send anything. It could send like Abstrad or Dragon, right? So you want to expand upon your combos, see what potentials you have. This could have been, for example, as well. I'm gonna get ahead of myself here. Let me resolve this first. Let me get this, discard a card, and overlay for Harbinger, and then this can summon a window. So now we have attack redirecting with Harbinger, so they can't attack Sprint or Window easily. They're locked under the window. You have somewhat removal with Schism, and you have decent removal with Sprint bouncing a summoned monster. And then you also have the Spell Negate. This is pretty strong. Obviously, this does nothing here. The Proxy F is not relevant to this combo at all. It could be a Phoenix for all you care about. It could be a Dark Charmer to float. So this is strong. Like, as for one card, especially potentially not using a normal summon, this is great. Now, where else could we gone a little differently? So, with this Proxy F Magician there, what if instead we made a Ferocious Flame Swordsman, which is just generic link to Warrior. Now, when the Prism was on field, you could have turned that into Isold. And then the stuff with Isold there, and that would have been very strong as well. And then you could have later turned the Isold into the Sprint, and still had this exact same field, plus a Warrior combo on top. Specifically, you could have ended on, like, Arclight afterwards. So if you're going to end on Arclight on top of this, that's insane. Now, you could probably FTK with all these cards, right? You can kind of see how the resources go almost limitless. It's just at some point will require more and more bricks in your deck. And there is diminishing returns to how powerful you make your combo. If this is your end combo, this will probably win you a lot of games because you have 4 other cards in hand that are fairly useful. That's ignoring the fact that it may be fragile. That's not what we're focusing on here, but in terms of how strong we need it to be. Another thing you could do in this position is you could make Gigantic Sprite, another way to extend. Yeah. So there is one other player that is a relatively low commitment that I want to show you guys, which takes a little bit of a different start. So if we rewind a bit and say we are at our first original junction, right? So we have this here. This is Engrave, and this is here. Now, first what we do is we make Cross Sheep. This requires us to play second Starfrost, but that is fine for us. Now we can banish these two from our grave for the Astrad. And we can revive the Cross Sheep now. The Cross Sheep triggers, we get back Prisma, and now we're going to reveal a second Astrad. So this does require us to play 2 Astrads. I forgot to put it in this extra deck, but yeah, reveal a second Astrad here, and you're going to send 1 more. So here we can send a second Starfrost. And now what we can do is we can bring back the Lightheart because we control a Starfrost, and we can link it all off. And we're holding this for in case we get nibbed. And now we're safe from nib. We have the Apo up. Oops, should not be there. And then we can revive, and we have our Baron setup still. So this same setup for the cost of a single extra card in the main and a single extra card in the extra deck ends on a Baron on top of it, which I think is definitely stronger and worth it, because if they're going to nib you, it also means you hold the Reborn spell until that point, so you have the extra free tuner to play through the nib afterwards, which I'd hope you were able to do in any given deck. But yeah, this is relatively strong, so no surprises there. It is less layered, less diverse than the other field I showed you with the Harbinger, Sprint, Schism. And then obviously it's less impactful than something with an Ice Bolt line you could have done as well. So it's hard to say how deep exactly you go down this rabbit hole, but the main point I'm trying to convey here is that there's a lot of options with the Prisma now that didn't exist prior, and you can really do almost anything in the game in a very similar vein to something like Armageddon Knight. So it is something to look in for sure. Now, the question you are all asking is, will this be meta relevant come the next set? It's hard to say, especially with the current Forbidden list. With any of these combo cards, it's not something we've never seen before. 4-Minute Skipper, Armageddon Knight, Lone Fart Blossom, Rescue Cat, all these cards are fantastic, and you can do some really, really dumb stuff with a single card. Even E-Telly, right? Like, you've seen the dumb combos I have on Sam's channel, where you can do anything in the game off of one card. So what depends is how many bricks they require, which is thankfully for this not that many, but then also how well they interact with your own deck. If they have synergy, if you can do other stuff with them, play flexibly, or if they're going to be dead draws later in the game, if they'll be cloggy at all, and also how they interact into the opponent's fields, into their hand traps. For something like this right now, Prisma is really bad into something like Fenrir, something like a Rise Heart. It's not exactly something I'd want to have. So specifically from that lens, it's something I'm skeptical if I want to include. Maybe it's a bit better into Runics, because normal summoning Prisma, it won't get Runic Flashing Fired. However, Freezing Curses isn't as bad. And then if they want to Flashing Fire, they have to do it a bit later, to which point you have a little more recourse probably. I'm not sure exactly where it stands at the current moment. It is something to explore, and while I haven't tested how it actually plays in a match, it is something on my to-do list, and I implore you all to do something the same, where you can go any which direction of these you choose, or maybe more if I've missed, and maybe it'll show up in the Wisest Philly decks in a few weeks' time. Anyways, that's all for now, guys, and I will be back with some more videos next week. Peace.